Good morning, and today is the 13th of June 2018. My name is Derek, and this is the crypto day morning. Like always, everything within your own risk, own reward. On the weekly Bitcoin chart, from this low to this high, it's now on test number 3 of the 23.6% correction at around the 6,000 area. And we've seen how it's been making lower highs, at least in the weekly, 2 resistance tests within this 18, one going sideways, one within a decline. It looks as if there is a decent chance this thing might break through. But when I talk about there not being much support, I don't know how well this will, if any, in getting much above the 18 average of lows on any rallies that come forth. Whatever the market does is what it does, and I really don't care too much if it either bottoms at this point or if it doesn't, because I realize at 3,000 that that's just normal market behavior. If it doesn't, I've seen lots of up and down moves, and well, when I see this type of empty space in here, having a move come down towards here is really, in my book and from my experience looking at charts, it would be typical. On the daily term time frame, when we take a look at this here, this level of support had a rally up to here. It also was an area of previous key support. Then it came back to this area. It was a higher low, but it also spent a significant amount of time within here. And then it made a lower high. It also came back to the area of its previous support. So now we're back here again. We've just entered. As far as just market movement is concerned, bear and bull market, of course, this being bear market, you have a leg lower, correctionary move right here. Leg lower. See, this is a key leg from key noticeable distance from here to here. Then your correctionary move, then leg lower. See, it's now just at the point where you can say, is this enough space for what a leg lower would be? I'm like, you know what, that's standard. So I'm going to see if we're at an area where we can at least find some sort of bottom. But if I draw a line right here, which would be like around 7 grand, that would be an area for where it came from. It would be the 18 average on here, and it's got to go a long, long way higher from that to revert the trend. If it maintains its pattern of matching lows 6,000 and lower highs, well, the first high was about 11.5. The last high was close to 10. So you'd be looking at, it could go up to 85, 86. But that's why I talk about when we go back to certain levels, I'm like, yeah, maybe we might find a rally. And then all of a sudden, it has one, or it doesn't. Or it has that support and it has just breaks through. I'm going to take a look at silver next, because of its I'm going to draw it instead. And this is the first time that I've ever used Sketchpad, so I have no idea how this is going to work, and it's not working. Okay, we need a let me just use Notepad. So with silver, it went down to $4. And the amount of support that it had at this level from about 1984, 85 through 2003 was tremendous. It managed to go back up to 8. And it even had some time where it pierced below 4. But it really didn't do too much lower, really never going below $3.50. This is the chart that I have on TradingView, and that's why I wanted to draw it, because it only has data from here. So that means I'd either have to find somewhere else quickly enough that actually has old data, or go through one of my spreadsheets, which probably would have been the fastest. But anyway, we can see that it had this $4 support, which at the time was about the 20th time that it found support at 4. Realistically, it was about the 7th time. And it managed to have its move that obviously managed to get up to 20, a little bit of a pullback, and then a significant size down move. Now, interesting, back in 2008, and we'll just throw out all the fundamental analysis away because there's always fundamentals that will bring up any move that comes in with it. But when you had this little bit of a quick shakeout with the price action going down about 3 times its value, a statement like this, it could either start that deadly bear market or it could just go. And it just went, obviously, from point low to the point high. So Bitcoin at any time, as we see with these markets, when it just wants to go, and I've said it so many times with the cryptos, when markets want to go, they just go. And it can happen even in the worst of downtrends. So at any point, it can do such. But even at any decent size move, because if this is what I would like to see happen at Bitcoin 3000, is to have movements just come up like this. We'll say this is 20,000, break 20,000, and then I don't know, this would be like 100,000, I would guess. And then it wouldn't be surprised if it did something like this. Now, of course, with silver, it has been in this sideways move, barely getting above the 18. Now, on the daily chart for it, hey, you know what? It's showing a nice little breakout pattern. Now, the last time it did such, it resulted in a failed breakout. Not much of a fast move lower. Really down to the minimum part, which is pretty much where it came from at 1611, because the failed breakout happened getting above this resistance at around 1685, 1680 to 1690. Had this break higher, well over 17. But it didn't correct where it was supposed to, but it's within this 18, within this previous level of resistance. So when you see that, that was like, ooh, it's a scary move. So it really didn't go down too much. But this is showing a pattern where it might have a nice, decent sized break. For myself as a trader, with Bitcoin prices going lower and really in no care right now with the silver prices, because they're just barely, they're not even that volatile much at all right now. But until Bitcoin prices go much higher, I'm going to be halting the purchasing of physical silver, as it's just now becoming too expensive, priced in cryptos. The market cap is down to 276 billion for the Bitcoin. We'll look at the market cap, and the Bitcoin dominance up, breaking past the 40% number. Look at these percentage moves. 10% down, 9% down. Everything is significantly lower. All of these 7-day trends, significantly lower. Nothing in the top 62 is up. Nothing. Nothing in the top 90. The best leader, we got Emmercoin in at 95. And Decentraland in at 97. So the entire market space obviously going down. And it can go down much, much further if, of course, that a further 50+% decline occurs. We've already had close to 50% declines from the top, going from 20,000 to 10. And 10,000 to like where we are now. That's not quite such, but... So we got market capitalization. We'll take a look at that chart. Market capitalization excluding Bitcoin. I'm going to ignore that one. So I'm going to exclude that chart. There really is no... I don't like this chart really. And then Bitcoin dominance. I do like this one. So then, what I want to take a look at this is say year to date. Let the data load from the server. And it's been, well, I guess it got over 40% nicely before. But yeah, I did come back down here to 35, 36. Because at the start of April, the altcoins had to try to make a decent move rally. Obviously, it has been failing on it. When we just take a look at the movements from this here. And it's hard to see because I wish I could scrap the lower levels. But you can... Again, hard to tell. You have a resistance here around 38, comes up close to 39.9, pulls back up to, and it's just breaking that level of resistance. So it does look as if there could be further movement within it from that chart. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. I'm going to put the log scale on because there's a world of difference between linear scale and log scale when you look at the crypto space. As far as a 1-year chart is concerned, the cryptos overall had a very good end of the year. From July 17th, the market cap went from 36 billion up to over a trillion, or over 500. Now it stands, of course, at 162. That's January. That's 162. So it goes up to this key point. You have the diddle down move, and in here a lower low. As even though Bitcoin, when it came down here, originally, it was the $6,000 mark. And then when it came down again, it was the $6,000 mark. That's just, again, showing Bitcoin overperforming the alts as well. But the rally, like I talk about at the start of April, markets go up, but they top it around May the 5th. Just one small little move. Nothing too fantastic. But since then, it has been making a lot of these lower highs and lower lows. Looking at it just a bit more clearly from the year-to-date situation, you could just, I don't get anything to draw on here, but you could just see that you could draw a line up here. It's been curving lower. You established a level of support on May the 28th at the 1600 UTC timestamp. And another half-assed, barely not much mention worth note rally, and it's been falling lower. It's just now barely broke that level of support. So I would have to think again that this should have at least a little bit more on this current leg lower, as I would expect it to, because it's barely that much of a move in size. But overall, within the situation of the crypto space, you're going to get significant moves both up and down. For you to want $1 million Bitcoin prices, or 175,000, $250,000, if you want $4,000 Litecoin prices, or if you want to just see how many trillions of dollars the market cap for the Bitcoin can move up to, you're going to have some volatile moves that occur both up and down. There is no market system that can say, well, here's your chance where you can make a beep load of coin, and you're going to have to play the swings. It's not like on the way up you're going to get your beautiful gains of, oh, I doubled this month. Oh, I made only 50% this month. Oh, I tripled this month. To get those kinds of gains and then be like, ooh, okay, how about on the way down you limit it like 10% and 20% only? No, it doesn't work that way. But instead it's just look at the patterns. Just quickly looking at altcoins, Cloak Coin on the daily term time frame. Here's that situation where you have that very beautiful rally, and this is the volatility that you want to trade from if that's what you're looking for. 82 up to over 100, so how about make a little over 20%? Now it's back to where it came from. So if we're going to make a leg lower, you'd have to think we're probably going to enter somewhere into the 70s somewhere on the Cloak Coin. Let's look next at DGB, and I'm going to remove this now. And in the situation here, major volatility. You go from under 100 to almost 1,000. Okay. Then you go down to over 200, back up to over 500, now lying in at about 400. And meanwhile, this entire while, resistance has been established in different areas, but we're not there, so I'm not going to draw it. Originally in here, but then also into that point. So we're right at the lower end of this support range. Will it continue to build a stronger level of the support and rally higher? Maybe. But I realize when support levels of key levels get taken out, you're looking to fill a decent amount or some of this empty space for the market. Coins like OK Cash. I have talked a while ago about the realistic possibility of this falling to 757. And if Bitcoin goes to 3, this could have the realistic possibility of even breaking below that number as well. I was talking about that around the 2600 number. So on the weekly, look at the pattern. You have this level of support come up to the 18. You're grinding it lower. You're now just back to where that area came from. When you look at it further within the daily, well, ever since it last tried to break out on May the 2nd, it has been continuously going lower. It's had a leg lower from here, so it could bottom at this point based on how I look at markets. You have a key low and then new leg lower here. And you're just making really a new leg lower now at this point. But it's been in a downtrend. This failed rally attempt has had a fast move lower. All right, that will be it for today's video. It's already 9:42 a.m. Eastern time as I'm concluding this, so up a little bit later than normal. But that's what happens when I got up. I got up an hour later than normal too. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.